Hello, my name is Eric Wolf, and I'm a football coach here at Gans. So my perspective here is not from a classroom. So I coach college football players, so 18 to 22 years old. I have not a ton of experience with QR codes, but I do have a ton of paperwork our kids go through. So just having the idea of going paperless is super attractive to us. It cuts down on bills. It's going to cut down on budget. It's going to cut down on many things as far as filing stuff and space to file those things. So, a couple of ideas that I really thought of that QR codes could help us as a football program. One, the biggest day of the year as far as paperwork is called Camp Check-in. So, beginning to mid-August every year, all 90 of our football players check into camp. During that time, we got to sign a ton of paperwork, such as health forms and academic forms and sizes for equipment, things as far as class scheduling and FERPA forms, and there's just NCAA forms. There's just so many different things of paperwork. And if we could have the ability to go QR codes with that stuff, and instead of having all these signs and these long lines, we can use QR codes, put it directly on the parents' or students' phones, and get those guys moving quickly through the process and be able to give them the information they need to fill out those paperwork and those forms quickly without having a coach walk them through everything, and which just takes a lot of manpower and it takes a lot of time away from us. So those camp check-in days would be awesome. I think would use those to quickly move people through stations, get them the information they need, while still being efficient with our time and saving ourselves quite a bit of space with some paperwork or things. The other thing I really liked was the insurance paperwork. We do a ton of insurance paperwork because we're dealing with Gins insurance, and then we're using their personal insurance as a secondary insurance, and there's just tons and tons and tons of insurance paperwork that we file and keep record of and fill out, and it takes our kids tons of time. But if we could use QR codes to, one, be able to hand out QR codes instead of packets and packets of paper, that would save just the workload on printing and stapling and doing that stuff, and be able to do it via QR code where kids can just get the information quickly, the parents can get the information quickly. It's in a bundled tight area instead of having sheets and sheets and sheets of paper. That would save a ton of space and time while I'm doing our insurance paperwork with our players. The other thing I really thought of was every day during season we do a daily motivational post. Sometimes it might be sent out on social media, sometimes it might be sent out via text message, or we use a online system called Huddle, and it sends messages out to our kids' phones and emails through that. And we have different ways we do that, but I think it'd be a really cool modern way of doing our daily motivations would be QR codes. Maybe we could possibly post those, or we could send those, different ways that our kids can have fun with it and get their daily motivational statements out to their teammates, building teamwork, building culture among the team. And doing QR codes could be very 21st century, I think, would be a pretty cool way of doing it. The other thing is we use a ton of paper is our workout sheets. So as our team goes in and lifts twice a week during season and 4 times a week during off season, there's papers everywhere. So kids are trying to find pencils, and their papers are getting sweat all over them, and it's just quite a mess because we're using paper and pen. Pens are breaking because they're getting smashed or stepped on, lost. But if we could use QR codes on the TV screens and on the televisions that we have in the weight room, that could be a quick and efficient way of getting a workout into our player's hand. Plus, we know our players take care of their phones way more than they'll ever take care of a workout sheet and a pencil and paper. I'm also trying to find a nice flat surface to write on in the weight room. It becomes a problem too. Instead of being able to use your phone, getting a workout sent to you and working through that workout, a QR code would be absolutely perfect for that. I think that's one of my favorite ideas, is using QR codes in our weight room. And as we work from station to station, have QR codes posted on each station, so all they have to do is walk up, scan the QR code, see what their sets, their reps, their weights are, and they're moving on, and they don't have to have all these papers carrying around with them. The other thing I really like the idea of QR codes would be travel plans. So as we travel out of town, we could post anything from arrival times to departure times, what lunch menu is going to be for that travel, where we're picking our lunches up, what jersey colors we're wearing for those games, making sure a pack list. Hey, make sure you pack your helmets, your shoulder pads, your cleats, your shoes, all those things that we usually put on paper and put in our kids' lockers. We could just put a QR code in there and have that stuff on hand with their phones, and they'll always have it saved on their phones. That way, which would be so much more efficient than just handing them sheets of paper which they lose, tear up, whatever happens with it. So I think this is a pretty cool way of doing it. I'm really excited about implementing QR codes into our football program. Thanks again, and I'm looking forward to you guys' other post.